What's up, everyone? Today we're going to talk about setting up your baitcaster for the first time and hopefully avoid some of the headaches that I had. Intro. Alright guys, so if you're here, you just bought yourself a baitcaster and one of two things is going on. Either A, you already went through the headache, you went out to the pond with your new baitcaster, you had it all spooled up, you started casting, and you just got into the worst bird's nest you've ever seen.
Why would they do this?
Or you heard from a buddy that chaos ensued and that you need to set your baitcaster up for the first time. We're going to do that here today. Hopefully you guys already got your baitcaster all spooled up and you got it on a rod. Now what you want to do is rig your rod up with some light tackle, something like a swim bait or a small weight with a Senko or something light like that. Let's talk about the parts of your baitcaster real quick. This little dial right here is your brake. This little round knob is your spool tensioning knob. This little star piece is your drag, and this button right here is your spool release button. So to get started, you want to crank your dial all the way up to max on your brake, and you want to crank down on your spool tensioning knob all the way down to tight. When that happens, you're going to release your spool and notice that it doesn't turn at all. It's because the brakes are all the way up and so is your tension knob. From this point, you want to start turning back your spool tensioning knob just a little bit until your bait starts to fall, like you see right there. And you want it to fall really naturally. Once it hits the ground, like mine just did, it should stop. This is a good place to start right there. This is a good jumping off point for your baitcaster setup. All right, now you're ready to go cast. You got your baitcaster set up and you're able to go cast something without it getting crazy. This is the best jumping off point for you to get started. So when you're gonna go cast, you're gonna press the release button with your thumb and hold the spool with your thumb at the same time. And when you cast, you're gonna keep your finger on this line and you're gonna feather it. You're just gonna let that line go and you're just gonna keep real soft pressure on it so that the line doesn't go out of control. If you're teaching your son or your daughter to use a baitcaster for the first time, if they've never experienced it, this is where you need to have the most patience. But you know, every time that I go out with my son, this is the part that's the most tricky. He can get a good cast out, he can reel in, keeping his thumb on it. He's either on it all the way or he's off it all the way, and there's no happy medium there. So you have to have tons of patience. This is where patience is key, is teaching them how to cast off with their thumb on the line. Once you got this thing down and you're able to cast, you know, you'll start to notice that your cast only goes so far. You can only do X amount of things with it, and this is where it gets fun. When you start changing different lures, you start using different baits, different weights, you need to start adjusting accordingly to whatever it is you got. You got something a little heavier, you might want to crank back on the tension a little bit. You want to ease up on the brakes just a little bit, and you'll start playing around with different levels or different settings depending on how far you want to cast or what it is that you're trying to do, what lure you're using. Sometimes you're using something really light and you need to crank it all the way back down. Sometimes some reels are used for some things and others aren't. I have a Cast King reel that I just can't use for anything light. This is a reel that I just need to use something heavier on. And I need to use this for jigs. I need to use this to toss really far because it just doesn't work with light weight for whatever reason. It drives me crazy, but that's neither here nor there. This, for example, is a Abu Garcia Black Max, one of these Walmart specials that I got for my son to learn. And man, you know what? I steal it from him all the time. This reel for me is the absolute best for lightweight. I could toss this out there and keep my thumb completely away from the spool and it's not gonna give me a bird's nest. Now you guys know, you guys have it set up. Now you're ready to go have some fun. Remember, this isn't the end all be all. There's always gonna need adjustment depending on how far you wanna go, how far you wanna cast, where you're casting into, and what bait you're using or what lure you're using. If you guys like this video, please give us a like, give us a subscribe, Share it with your friends. Go listen to the Bass Fishing Dads podcast or anywhere you download your podcast. You could also go and join the Bass Fishing Dads Facebook group. And please go check out our sponsors, Stealth Rod Holders.